This marks the second week of Ayashimon releasing in Weekly Shonen Jump, and it seems to be starting off very strong. If there's one thing I've noticed after all the recent shonen manga axed in Weekly Shonen Jump, is that the first 3 chapters I think matter the most for a new series. If the beginning chapters don't catch people, then not many will be inclined to continue reading, even if it gets phenomenal 5 chapters or 20 chapters later within the manga, because we gotta think about this. There's a lot of manga over the years I've seen that get really good, but sometimes people say you just got to make it past like maybe the first 3 volumes. Once you get 3 volumes in, the manga gets incredible. And I guess manga nowadays and Weekly Shonen Jump don't really have that liberty to really have a lot of time to flesh out and grow their story. So they really need to pump the pacing up very quickly to make it actually catch people, instantly when they actually start reading. Anyways, moving on to chapter 2 of Ayashimon, the pacing you could say is quick to get things off the ground quick, and the characters are shaping up fantastically. As I mentioned in my first impressions I made last week on the manga series, I love the main character so much. His goal of wanting to be a manga protagonist seems simple and stupid, but has so much depth to it. We get more of an extension of his character this week with how psychotic or insane he really is, maybe a bit of both. To prove what I'm actually talking about, let's discuss the opening panels of chapter 2. In this panel right here, you see our main female character, Urara, talking about some pretty scary stuff. Gang warfare and other things going on in the yokai world. Our main character quickly dismisses the dangers and states the ongoing violence is exciting. Urara quickly tells him that people are dying because of this and it's serious. However, he shows no care at all with saying so anyways, which is a big sign on just how messed up he is in the head and his overall priorities. He may want to be a manga protagonist, and he definitely is one since we are reading his story and how meta that actually is, but he is no hero. He isn't like the shonen protagonist he's read in his manga, like Dragon Ball Z. Most characters would be upset and contemplate the situation they're currently in, with how dangerous it actually is, but he shows no fear or sign of fear or worry for others, only his greed for fighting and epic battles that he can face in the future. It's like a amped up Goku without any care for his friends. I know many people are going to quickly say Goku's kind of like that, but at the end of the day, Goku does care about his friends. Like, if he needs to, he will worry about his friends and protect them. I mean, it's the reason why he became a Super Saiyan is because, Krillin died in front of him. And it's scary to think about, actually, that, he is an amped up Goku, but he doesn't really care about anyone. All he cares about is actually fighting. But anyways, I find it hilarious he had the nerve to say she's insane, Urara's insane, for wanting to control Shinjuku when they only have 2 members right now. Literally, the insane person is calling someone else insane for their plans. Getting a lot of Chainsaw Man vibes from this manga right now just because of that alone. I feel like this manga actually has a chance of surviving in Weekly Shonen Jump since the main themes in Shonen Jump is manga similar to Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen. However, it doesn't feel like a, copy of those manga either, like it's just trying to copy their formula and not do anything with it. It's distinct enough to stand out with the current established manga. So anyways, let's shift over to Hashihime, a character we were introduced to in chapter 2 of Ayashimon. I looked at the myths of this yokai and it doesn't have a lot of details, but this does show the mangaka will use obscure yokai in their story. I appreciate this actually. We might even get an Ayashimon version of Sukuna, from Jujutsu Kaisen, in this series. Anyway, speaking of the few details I gathered on, the Hashihime, apparently it's a lonely wife waiting for her husband/lover to return, but due to his infidelity, she became jealous and turned into a demon. And since the character Hashihime is already a demon in this story, we can only interpret a few things from this character. Either A, you could turn into a demon and that's her origin story, or the mangaka is telling us she will be jealous towards our main character as he grows more and more attached to Urara as the story progresses. Regardless of whatever goes on there, I do think that most likely characters can turn into demons if we're going along with common myths of yokai, so I do feel like that's going to play a part. Even if, let's say, this character here, Hashihime, wasn't like that was her origin story, but it's just saying she's going to be a jealous character, I feel like humans can turn into yokai. But anyways, speaking of Urara that I was just mentioning, she showed her true colors to us, the readers, towards the end of chapter 2. It's stated that she doesn't really care about our main character, she is just using him like a pawn and will get rid of him if she needs to. This lets us know that she's not a goody-goody two-shoes character, she's willing to make disturbing choices to get what she wants in life, all for the sake of vengeance for what happened to her family, her life, and all that, the syndicate. And so it's really interesting. I'm liking the character so far. So it's not just the main character, main male character carrying the series, but also Urara is very interesting because she seems to be a little bit insane too, just for the sake of vengeance itself. Now, as for the setup for upcoming chapters, we are introduced to 4 factions that our characters will have to face. The new Enma Syndicate that is led by the second chairman, then you got the Todoroki Alliance, and I feel like this group will become allies to our main characters. I just have a feeling on that. Just judging by how it's a group that's split off from the new Enma Syndicate, I feel like that makes the most sense of the Todoroki faction to be kind of allies. The third faction is Ayakashi Beastars that controls the host clubs and nightclubs. They are definitely going to be a full-on enemy faction. I mean, I feel like maybe there could be one character that comes from the faction that might become an ally, but overall I feel like the faction is going to be mostly enemies, just judging by the context of what they're going to be controlling, you know, the host clubs and nightclubs. Then the last faction is called the Cory Hotel Group. Apparently they're an external faction that is spanning into Shinjuku, so the role is vague in the story at the moment. It's possible they murdered the previous leader of Enma, which is why they are expanding into the territory, or maybe they are direct enemies of the new establishment, for instance the second chairman, and that they're going to ally themselves with, you know, our main characters to take down, you know, the new Enma faction. Could be wrong there, but it is a possibility they can be allies too. Now, speaking of enemies, I feel like the second chairman of the Enma faction will be the main enemy, judging by how stories like this go. I mean, with the way the name was dropped first, to judging by the shadowy figure not really being shown to us, it just all but implies that he's the one that kind of caused everything to happen, and why, you know, everything's going on in the yokai realm and all this gang warfare and stuff. I feel like he is the reason for it. Could be wrong there, but it's implied with the way the panel is drawn. Now, anyways, one last thing I do want to talk about is our main character, and that is, why is he just so absurdly strong? I do wonder what is going on with that, because it's just like, it's implied that he's not yokai, it implies that he's not really human, he's something else. So what is he? Is he a mix of both, or is it something else going on? But I am curious, because that is left up in the air, and I am excited to find that one out, because he is really just, he's crazy, and his strength is just insane. Oh yeah, and can we just take a moment to appreciate the artwork? Like, I know that it's the early stages of the series and the mangaka definitely wants to show off, but I really love the artwork of this series. Like, the double spread panels, to the way the line work is done, everything about it is just really good, and I just wanted to take a few moments to compliment it because I love the artwork of this series so far, and I cannot wait to see how the artist evolves as the series progresses. But I guess I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it at all, then, you know, please leave me a like on the video. It does help me out a lot. And if you want more of my content to appear in your YouTube feed, then, you know, please think about subscribing to the channel. I love you all. Be safe. Chibi out.